hot stuff, tried to come into my territory, and we jettisoned you out. Any apologies to the audience for wasting their valuable time?
Audience, America.
Oh, wow. Full on segment.
There's one thing I'd like to say quickly. I poke fun at Kevin Wildes. I mock him at times. I try to get him to put up that fun Mac Jones graphic when he's not expecting it. I might have slightly underestimated the degree of difficulty of Upset Alert. And for that, Kevin Wildes, I do apologize.
You know what?
There's a reason they call you Punxsutawney Phil. Is it because you're covered in fur and live in a log? No, it's because you can predict the future. And so, you know what, Coach? In place of our beloved Chris Broussard and Wildes, I'll leave this to you, and we'll just do Nick's picks.
Okay, Coach, you're really the opening act here, but you can still bring down the house.
It's really hard to follow after Nick's soliloquy. But it was very moving, Nick, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
Nick, I know you love Vegas, and I know you love gambling, and this weekend you should bet on black.
Wow!
Because it's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders
I love it.
upsetting the Kansas City Chiefs.
I love it.
Josh Jacobs, 5 yards of carry, leader. Jarrett Stidham tore it up against the league's #1 defense. Okay, Kansas City's at number 20. That's an issue. Devontae Adams, could he catch balls from Jarrett Stidham? He answered that question. 7 for 153 and 2 touchdowns. And then how'd they play last game? Last game, it comes down to the wire. Kansas City has to fight back, claw back,
Down 17
at their place,
ruin their season,
at their place,
their spirit.
and barely wins 30-29.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be the case this weekend as the Las Vegas Raiders ruin your weekend.
You guys have got me in a blender.
I like this a lot.
I got to tell you, I have so much notes in preparation about why the Jaguars are not going to be upset by the Titans. Because I was so certain Coach was going with Vrabel. I had a whole Prince bit.
That's not even an upset.
And Coach
We can't even count that as an upset.
During the break
lock.
was asking me about what the deck of cards, royalty, and I'm like, oh, he's going to do a Prince that was promised thing. And now you're picking the Raiders? The Raiders to beat the Chiefs in a game the Chiefs have to have. All right, you know what? I will say this.
Okay.
I have been steadfast all year in my belief, my fervent belief, that the Chiefs are the best team in football. And I think they have proven it via record, via eye test, via the beatdown they put on the second best team in football, San Francisco, all of it. If they lose to the Raiders in a game that clinches the #1 seed, even though the #1 seed this year, obviously, for reasons we discussed earlier, is a little different, my faith will be shaken.
Really?
Yeah, which is why I know they're not going to lose to the Raiders. Because my faith hasn't been shaken in this team in 5 years. They're not going to lose to the Raiders
I feel like
with
his
the
faith
one
was
seed
shaken
on
last
line.
year at different points.
No.
Early in the season, you're a little...
No, your guys' faith was shaken. Wildes, what did I always know was coming?
Mr. Consistency.
Well, that's what they call me. But what I knew was coming was the pass heard around the world against the Packers. That NFL history has changed since then. So they're not going to lose to the Raiders. I appreciate the chutzpah, Coach, but that's not happening.
All right, can I ask, sticking with this Raiders game?
Sure.
It feels like, right, Josh McDaniels made the call, or somebody made the call in the Raiders organization to move on from Derek Carr. Jarrett the Javelin Stidham and Josh were in New England, obviously. He played great against the 49ers.
Unbelievable.
Has kind of nothing to lose, might as well get out there and try to exploit the offense. Is this going to be like, not a tryout necessarily, but like, hey, let's really try to put some good film out there last game against Patrick Mahomes? So,
Well, can I
go.
the question? Do you think it's in play he's their starter next year?
oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's in play. It's in play, and it won't depend on this game, but this gave Josh an opportunity. And look, you've been advocating for Jordan Love and them to be able to look at him for a long time. And this is one of those situations where I think Josh made the decision that Derek wasn't going to be the answer, so he wanted to take a look at Jarrett. So now Jarrett has a great chance to build on what he did last game. And there's going to be nothing more satisfying for the Raiders than to be able to ruin Kansas City's opportunity. And sometimes we can discount that fact, but that's, that especially if the game is close as it goes on and closer than The Chiefs start to
game's a little close.
Chiefs start to tighten up. Raiders starting to loosen up. They've got nothing to lose. May take chances. Maybe you're going to see fake punts. Maybe, you can see anything. You can see anything in this game when you've got nothing to lose.
That part's definitely true. The Barnwell always calls it a David strategy, meaning David versus Goliath. And I actually don't think these teams are like that type of mismatch. The Raiders have a lot of talent. But when the team tries to add variance to the game, surprise onside kick, you know what I mean? Yep. Trick plays, those types of things.
All of them.
All of it. Now would be the time to do it. So I understand that. Chiefs 34, Raiders 20. So I'm not that
little bit of
wow.
All right, now it is time. First of all, great job. That was a great opening act, but here's the real show. It's time for the Puxatawny Phil to make his upset alert. As you mentioned before, do they call me the Puxatawny Phil because I'm covered with fur and live in a log? No. Nope. Just a coincidence. Today's pick, and I've kept things close. I've said it's an upset alert. The Texans will play the Chiefs close. Nobody liked it. I got a lot of negative mail on it. Yeah. So you know what? I'll go right for the outright win. Lions win in Lambeau. I believe there's something we made a Packers packing. They got to pack their stuff up and take it home. It's a pun, and we usually have a no pun policy on the show. But it's actually a homonym, so we felt like it was okay. Jared Goff, Prince of the North. Goff this season started off a little slow, November to January. Remember, this is the graphic that I thought we were going to have to fire Joshua about because of the 17 touchdowns, 1 interception ratio. Turns out it was accurate. Also turns out accurate, we already put the paperwork in. I am sorry, Josh. I'm going to try my best to get you another job. The other story, Rodgers, earlier this year against the Lions. Now, granted, Jared Goff didn't play great this game, but Aaron Rodgers didn't either. And maybe it's the thumb, maybe it's father time, maybe it's the Lions defense that's going to cook them up a little.
Prior to that game,
it's the old Lions.
I understand. But 52 touchdowns to 8 picks against one team in your career is pretty astounding.
Well, yeah. But those are the old Lions. These are the new Lions.
That's a pretty astounding number.
Now, this is the new
No,
Lions.
I'm not. I'm with you on your pick. That number jumped out of me.
Okay,
I apologize.
okay.
As you were.
Fire Josh if you need to. And then the final one is the Lions' pass rush has been fantastic. 22 sacks over the last 7 weeks. Only the Philadelphia Eagles have more. So for those reasons, and one extra little caveat, I'm really rooting for Jared Goff.
Why?
Well, look, he went to the Super Bowl. You got beat by America's team, the New England Patriots. Happens. What are you going to do? Then you get jettisoned off to Detroit. You see Matthew Stafford come in and win a Super Bowl. And you're kind of just left to the recycling bin. Well, all of a sudden, you've taken the Lions on the cusp of the playoffs. Now, granted, they might be eliminated before this game even happens. But I'm really rooting for him. I think it's a nice little story, better than Aaron Rodgers' manifestation story. So it's an emotional reason as well.
Can I add another reason
Sure.
the Lions should win? I'm also picking them. And I know you don't like when I get into the metaphysical.
No, I don't mind it.
But the sports gods should be on the Lions side here. The Lions deserve it. Dan Campbell deserves it. The fan base deserves it. And the Packers do not. And Aaron Rodgers does not deserve to get to go on and I told you so tour for having the worst year of his career and going 9-8. He does the end of Aaron Rodgers' worst statistical season of his career, where they went 9-8. He should not get to be like, it shouldn't happen. And you know who also doesn't deserve the Packers in the playoffs? Brew, who's not here to defend himself, but that's fine. I'll say it anyway. Brew's flip-flopping. They're in my Super Bowl team. They're out, and now he's back in on them. No.
He's giving them motivation.
No. It doesn't. Brew, I love you and I miss you, but you don't deserve this one either. I'm with you, Wilds, on the Lions.
Nick, I love your analytics. It's the football gods and pixie dust.
Yeah, you know what? It's a mixture of a lot of
football
things. You know what I mean? Some science, some
Speaking of,
nature, some
time for Nick's picks.
Time for
Let's
Nick's
go.
picks. Guys, we've locked in a winning season.
Let's go.
Last week we went 1-1. We usually do 3 picks, but obviously the Bengals-Bills game didn't count. So winning season for the regular season, absolutely impossible for it not to happen. But you know what's better than 23-19-2? 26-19-2. Well above 60% on the year. How are we going to get there? Here's how we're going to get there. Week 18, always tricky. You got to look at times of games. You got to look at motivation. We're starting with Minnesota -7.5. Why does the time matter? Well, Minnesota technically still alive for the 2 seed. Oh, but Nick, San Francisco's not going to lose to the Cardinals. That game kicks off at 4:30. Vikings game kicks off at 1, so they will have to play assuming that the Niners could lose. Additionally, did you see who the Bears are starting at quarterback? A fellow you might remember. He starred in films such as The Single Worst Start in NFL History. His name is Nathan Peterman. And the Chicago Bears could potentially get the number 1 pick of the draft, and Justin Jefferson is 193 yards away from the all-time record, all considered at the record. Why